Kyle's love for nature was woven into the fabric of his childhood, a tapestry of hiking adventures and visits to the zoo, where he marveled at the animals. His passion for wildlife led him to pursue a career as a veterinarian, fulfilling a dream where he could not only care for pets, but also work closely with larger animals in zoological settings. It was a full-circle moment, stepping into the very spaces that had ignited his fascination as a child. However, the reality of being a vet came with its challenges. Kyle found himself deeply attached to the animals under his care, many of whom he had watched grow from infancy. Despite his expertise and dedication, there were moments of heartbreak when he couldn't save a patient. Each loss weighed heavily on him, challenging his resolve to maintain emotional distance. Yet, amidst the highs and lows of his veterinary practice, Kyle recognized the need for solace and rejuvenation. While city life offered moments of fun with friends, true restoration awaited him in the embrace of nature, the very place where he had always found peace since childhood. The bustling urban environment couldn't compare to the serenity and healing power of the wilderness. Driven by this longing for a sanctuary, Kyle decided to invest in a modest cabin nestled near a national park. It was a humble retreat offering not just a home, but an escape into the untouched beauty of the natural world. Surrounded by acres of pristine land protected by the park's conservation status, Kyle found solace in knowing that his sanctuary would remain untouched by urban sprawl. From his cabin's porch, Kyle could immerse himself in the sights and sounds that had become his refuge. The calls of birds and the sight of eagles soaring across the sky provided a soundtrack of tranquility. Deer and other wildlife became familiar visitors, their presence a reminder of the harmony and rhythm of the natural world. After particularly demanding weeks at the clinic, Kyle's cabin became his haven. Dropping his weekend bag, shedding his work attire, and donning hiking boots, he felt the weight of responsibility melt away. With an apple in hand, he embarked on leisurely walks, savoring the crisp air and the symphony of the nearby river. The relentless pace of city life receded, replaced by a calm that allowed his mind to unwind and clarity to return. As he strolled through sun-dappled trails and breathed in the earthy sense of the forest, Kyle rediscovered the peace that had eluded him amidst the demands of his career. The woods offered not just a physical retreat but a spiritual renewal, grounding him in the simplicity and beauty of nature. Here, amidst towering trees and babbling brooks, Kyle found a sanctuary where the cares of the world faded, and his soul found solace in the timeless rhythms of the wilderness. Kyle had been hiking for some time when he encountered a bear blocking his path. Keeping his distance, he cautiously began to retreat, knowing better than to provoke or startle the animal. But instead of backing off, the bear started moving towards him, slowly but steadily. Kyle's heart raced as he considered his options, aware that running could trigger a chase response from the bear. Just as the tense standoff escalated, Kyle noticed movement beside the bear. A small cub emerged from the undergrowth. The sight of the cub instantly heightened the danger of the situation. A mother bear protecting her cub could be fiercely aggressive. Kyle knew he had to tread carefully, realizing that simply retreating wasn't deterring the bear's advance. In a bold move, Kyle raised his arms above his head, making himself appear larger, and began shouting and stomping his feet, hoping to intimidate the bear into backing down. However, to Kyle's surprise, the bear didn't react as expected. There was no aggression in her demeanor, no signs of hostility. Instead, she sat down in the forest, her cub clambering around her. Kyle observed a strange sadness in her eyes, a sense of defeat that he hadn't anticipated. Despite the risk, Kyle's compassion for animals compelled him to approach cautiously. Was the bear injured? What could be causing this uncharacteristic behavior? As he edged closer, the bear stood up and began walking towards the nearby river, occasionally glancing back as if inviting Kyle to follow. Curiosity mingled with concern drove Kyle forward. If the bear needed help, he was determined to offer it. The bear led him to the riverbank where tangled fishing nets floated in the water. Confused at first, Kyle watched as the bear approached the nets. It wasn't until one of the nets twitched that he realized the gravity of the situation. A baby bear was ensnared, struggling against the water that threatened to submerge it with each passing moment. Without hesitation, Kyle waded into the river, carefully approaching the trapped cub. The mother bear stood by anxiously, her earlier melancholy now replaced by a desperate urgency. Working swiftly but gently, Kyle managed to free the cub from the entangling nets, carefully guiding it back to safety on dry land. The relief was palpable as the cub reunited with its mother, who nuzzled it affectionately. As Kyle watched the bear and her cub disappear into the safety of the forest, a deep sense of fulfillment washed over him. This encounter wasn't just about rescuing a trapped animal. It was about understanding and connecting with a creature in need. For Kyle, it reaffirmed his dedication to wildlife and the profound bond that exists between humans and animals. It was a reminder that sometimes, in the quiet depths of nature, the most unexpected encounters can reveal the truest expressions of compassion and understanding. It was evident to Kyle that the bear had tried desperately to free her cub from the tangled fishing nets. The mess was formidable, and despite her strength, the mother bear couldn't extricate her baby alone. She needed human help, and she seemed to know instinctively that Kyle was her best hope. Time was running out. The trapped cub was already showing signs of distress. With no tools at hand, Kyle knew he couldn't afford to waste a moment. He sprinted down the riverbank, scanning the rocks until he found one with a sharp, jagged edge. Without hesitation, he plunged into the water and swam swiftly to where the struggling cub was ensnared. The ropes of the fishing nets resisted his efforts, cutting into his hands and leaving them raw and bleeding. Despite the pain, Kyle persisted, knowing that the cub's life depended on his swift action. After what felt like an eternity of frantic cutting, Kyle finally created enough space to free the cub. With adrenaline coursing through him, he gently lifted the small bear and swam back to the riverbank, the worried mother bear close beside him. The cub lay motionless, its fur soaked, and its breathing faint. Kyle immediately began performing chest compressions, willing the cub to revive. Moments passed like eternity as Kyle worked tirelessly, his own exhaustion matched only by his determination. Then, miraculously, the cub began to cough and splutter, drawing in ragged breaths. Relief flooded through Kyle as he watched the cub slowly regain consciousness. Weak but alive, the little bear struggled to its feet and stumbled towards its mother and sibling, who were waiting anxiously nearby. The mother bear enveloped her cub in a protective embrace, nuzzling it tenderly to ensure it was truly okay. Satisfied that her baby was safe, she allowed the reunited siblings to play together, a heartwarming sight that left Kyle overwhelmed with emotion. As the bears retreated into the forest, Kyle collapsed onto the riverbank, his muscles trembling with exhaustion and relief. Though physically drained, his heart soared with the knowledge that he had made a difference. Gathering his strength, he eventually made the journey back home, still processing the incredible events of the day. Arriving at his cabin, Kyle treated himself to a warm shower, the water soothing his aching muscles. Despite the fatigue, he couldn't shake the feeling of fulfillment and gratitude for being in the right place at the right time to help the bears. The next morning, as Kyle sat on his porch with a steaming cup of coffee, he reflected on the previous day's adventure. Content to relax after the ordeal, he was taken aback when he saw movement near the tree line. To his astonishment, the bear family emerged from the forest and approached his cabin. Over the following weeks and months, the mother bear, and eventually the cub he had saved, would return regularly to visit Kyle at his cabin in the woods. Each visit was a poignant reminder of the bond forged that day, a testament to compassion and the enduring connection between humans and wildlife.